So this tutorial starts off with me putting liquid glue on my eyebrows, which is not how you should cover your eyebrows. But while I mess up, I'll explain to you how you are supposed to do it. So you take a glue stick and then you put that over your eyebrow, which smooths it down. And then you put concealer over that and then the color over that. But instead, as you can tell, I used liquid glue so they didn't stay down and it didn't like fill in the spaces between my eyebrow hairs. It just kind of sat there and then it started to peel up. So that is the thing you'll notice throughout this whole tutorial, and I'm sorry. But for contouring, I took an orange eyeshadow over the yellow base that I had on already, and I put that along my cheekbones, brought it down to my jawline, and pulled it up to my forehead. Then I did my neck, collarbones. I used more of a brown color for my collarbones because the shimmery orangey gold I was using for my face didn't come up as well on my collarbones. Using water-acted face paint, I took a very small brush and I added all of the stitching lines and the mouth segment that has been ripped open. Once I had all my lines together, I thickened up the areas where the lines intersected and then added some kind of tear parts where the stitching had opened a bit. Then I took a white face paint and I put that where I generally wanted my teeth to be later. My teeth were going to be gold, so I added a white teeth as a base. White teeth as a base so that the gold would hopefully show up better than it would have just on the green. So with my base down, I started to do the entire fabrication of the stitches. But because you couldn't see it, I had to do it again on my hand. I mean, you can see it, but it's hard to follow, so I'll explain it here instead. So I start out with shades of orange, leading to brown. I take it not touching the green, but a little bit away from the green, because you want it to look as if the skin has risen up, as it's being pinched by the stitches. So you shade next to the green, but not directly onto the green. So you create this little sliver between it with the orange shade you're using, and you want to pull the first orange shades out, the lighter ones out, and then the darker orange you get, and the more as you add the brown closer to where your line between the yellow and the green is. That was very badly explained, I'm sorry. Added a little bit of black right in the insides where it was going to be the darkest, where the skin would be pinched the most. Then I took some white as a highlight, because wherever there's a shadow, there's a highlight, which I haven't been mentioning in lots of videos, but that's a thing. So I took that and I put that all up on the raised portion of the ridges. So not the part that I just showed was sunken in with the shadow, but now the part that will be closest and is supposed to look raised. This doesn't look like a huge difference on camera, but on my actual skin, it is a pretty big difference between the general flesh tone of yellow and then the yellow I had created with the highlight. Then I moved on to creating depth inside of the cut itself. So I took a dark green and I tried to, I shaded the inside, so where it would be over something, so as if the skin had ripped open and then there's bits inside where the skin flaps hung over. So I took a bit of green and then I added some black to that, and I put that wherever the cut was the thinnest or around the edges of the big pond bits. Imagine it's a river and you want to put it in the thin bits of the river and in the big edges of the pond bits, so you can tell that the pond has depth to it, that there's darker parts of the pond. That's a weird metaphor. Anyways, then you take your liquid eyeliner and you're going to make little dots. I concentrated the dots more where the river was thinnest, because that's where the stitching would have been the tightest, and it's the loosest where the big lakes are. Then I connected all of these stitches, and I did it pretty randomly. You can just kind of exit, cross it, you know. It's stitches. You were not the best sewer when you sewed yourself up. Then I left some that are frayed. So that biggest pond has 2 open ones that just kind of frayed at the end because they've like snapped. Then I took the same brush that I used for highlighting, I think, and I took some gray shadow and I added that at the base of each stitch to show that the stitches are sunken into the skin, that they're not just hovering over the cut, that they're holding the cut together. Then to show that these broken stitches are raised up and that they're like sticking out from the skin, I shade next to them, so not underneath them, but next to them, so that it looks as if they are raised because they're casting a shadow on the skin below them, or like next to them. Then I take this gold eyeshadow that I have and I mix it with a little bit of water, which I have on the desk. I don't think you can see it, but I'm mixing it with water right there. Only having one hand for this was not very good because the little disc kept spinning around. But essentially what I did to make the gold blood was I just mixed it with water and then I kind of just let it drip, or I'd like encourage it to drip down, and that created this pretty cool effect. And that's how you do the stitching. So this whole process I'm repeating on every section of my face, which I'll go over super briefly when I show you the super speedy face clips. So first, using shades of orange close to the rivers and then pulling them away. This is very speedy. Then as the oranges progress, you move on to browns. Lightest browns, darkest browns closest to where the separation between the sand of the river and the water of the river is. This river metaphor is really weird. Doing this to all of the sections, including the mouth bits where the teeth are. Then adding your dots of your stitches, lining your stitches. Important, randomly, scatter them about. The open frayed stitches where the mouth pit has split open. Lining my eyes. Using the shadow to shade the base of each stitch to show that the skin has been pinched. The stitches are in the skin. Then I took a highlight, a white, which I didn't do to the stitches on my hand, but I did do the stitches on my face, and adding that onto every stitch so it looks like the stitches are again raised because you have a shadow and you have a highlight on each stitch. Then lining my eyes. The eye part of it is super messy. I didn't put too much thought into it. It's just black and I just smeared it all around. Just wanted to make the eyes look sunken and hollow. Then I'm adding the gold on top of the white base that I made for the teeth. And of course I'm mixing this gold eyeshadow with water so it goes on better and thicker. Then I'm coaxing the drips down my face. This is adding more water to my gold eyeshadow so it will drip more. I put this in all the large areas on my face, and then I put a little bit in my nose too, or dripping down from my nose. And that's pretty much it. Sorry for how hectic this was. It was pretty much just one process. It's just the stitches themselves, but I did so many that I had to really break it down. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I've included clips of me taking it off and also almost crying as I remove the adhesive from my eyebrow hairs. So thanks for watching. I'll definitely be making more of these. Subscribe to see more, and leave a like if you liked it. Goodbye.